It's March 18th, a B-Day. It's a Wednesday, and this is the first video I'm making for my students and anyone else who happens to stumble across it as our days without school continue due to the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak. I'm going to make these videos for my students so that they have some sort of connection to the school so that we can go over all of the things that I think are important so that we get that school connection still happening, even if I'm supplying work from a digital source. I want to have this available. Now, a couple of things I need to go over first. Number one, I am currently talking into my phone, which for me is incredibly awkward. And as any of my students could probably tell you, I'm an awkward person to begin with. So this is very difficult for me. Number two, as I said, it's a phone, so quality is not the best. I don't have a tripod. I have multiples of these things, which aren't really the best. I don't even know where we got them from, but I have one more of them that the phone is currently hooked into, and it's on a shoebox, which is currently behind my laptop monitor. I don't even know what this video looks like because I can't see anything. And eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to reach for the camera, turn it around, hit stop, watch it in horror, and then, make do with what I have. I don't know how to edit videos or any of that stuff, so whatever. I did get to borrow a DSLR from my father-in-law. It does do video. I've never used it for video. I don't have a microphone for it. I know it has a built-in mic, so I have to test that later. But again, that doesn't solve the problem of video editing. So these are all going to be very, very amateur hour. I apologize for that. There's not a whole lot I can do, but it's what it is. I can't exactly go out to a store to buy stuff, so we'll make do with what we have. The purpose of these videos are going to be to go over some things I would do in class. I'm probably going to start off with talking about essays and claims because that's what I left off in class doing. And it's what I started typing up on my website. So students of mine who have been logging in and seeing that, I'll go back into detail with that. Hopefully I can figure out a way to do some minor video editing that I can actually put in photos and references and files in there so that they're a little bit more useful, and probably should be able to do at a minimum some of that through iMovie. Again, this is going to be horrible when this is all over and we get back to school. My students are going to have a wonderful time mocking me, and this is probably the worst idea in the world because of all the different things they're going to do making fun of me in these videos, but whatever, I'm used to it, and it's for a good cause, I think. So that's where we're at. The videos, I'm thinking maybe 20 minutes long each. I'm not really sure right now. After just saying 20 minutes long, I find that incredibly scary because it's really disconcerting talking to the three lenses in the back of my phone, but we'll figure it out. I'm hoping that students do reach out to me. I'll take suggestions for things, we'll cover things. I would like to upload short stories that students can download from the website at school, read, we can discuss, or I can discuss in the video, interpretations of those stories, and we can have little written assignments where I'll pose a question, students can write about it, and in the next video, if they get it back to me through email or some other link, then we can go over it that way and have some sort of discourse. For my actual students, I'll try to post things on Schoology as well. We'll get that up and running. So hopefully students have access to that. If you're not a student and for some reason you are suffering through this video, A, I'm sorry. B, you are more than welcome to participate and do whatever you need to get something out of this. We're in a strange time right now. And on Friday last week, before we found out that we would be out of school for an extended period of time, I told my last period of class that we're in history right now. And I sat down with my son over this weekend, and I tried to explain to him that in my, compared to him, advanced age of 44, I've never lived through anything like this. And with everything I've read, I can't really think of a time that's like this. And it'll be very easy to focus on the negativity and the scariness that surrounds this event. And I understand that, but you got to do your best not to. And for my students that have had me, you know what I'm like when I get like this, and I apologize. This is where the benefit of a video comes in, because you can just fast forward through this or mute me, which I'm sure all of you will want to do in the future once we get back to class, and you'll miss just being able to have that option on a video. But focus on things other than the uncertainty. Focus on things other than the fear. Focus on the historical significance. Focus on the fact that you're living through something that really, I don't think any other generation has, at least in modern history, right? You're going to live through something that is unprecedented. This global scale event you'll be able to tell people about in years to come. This is going to change the world. And right now it's hard to see coming out of it on the other side, but focus on your story. Focus on how you would tell this to future generations. Focus on how you, your family, your friends, how you made it through, what you did. How did you cope with being quarantined? How did you cope with not being able to go out to stores? What did you do? How do you tell that story? I think that's important. I think that's valuable. I think there is a lot there for us to think about, to grab onto, and to propel us through this. It'll be tough. I get that. It's very tough. I have a 14-year-old daughter who screams in my face and tries to beat up my son. Right? I'm stuck with her. She's scary sometimes. She tried to bite my wife's face off the other day. Maybe I'll splice in some of that video if I can figure out how to edit later. But we have to focus on what we can control. And what we can control is our own story. How do you tell people? How do you tell any future children you have? How do you tell future grandchildren about the time our country kind of shut down to stop something from getting worse? Why don't you start writing about that? Write out a skeleton of how you would tell this story, from how it began to how you think it ends. And if you want to make it interesting, try telling it from different perspectives. Tell it from your perspective, but think about it from the perspective of your parents or your grandparents. Think about it from the perspective of the small business owner. Think about it from the perspective of the teacher, even if you don't like them, me. Try that. That might be a good thing to do for our first real piece of learning and writing. I think there could be some value in there. And yes, I am still swinging around a stick. I've had to downsize because I don't want to break anything, including, and yes, it might be a little embarrassing, my giant Lego Voltron. I know. All right, so this one's only like 8-9 minutes, very brief. I know it's very painful for me. I got partially dressed. I'm wearing gym shorts and slippers besides the quasi-dress shirt. And I actually tried to do my hair for once instead of looking like, one of the dwarves from Lord of the Rings or something. So hang in there. We'll get through this. I'll make more of these, which might not be a good thing. I am kind of scared now to grab that tripod, turn it around and watch what I've just produced and how bad it is, but whatever. It's our first one, and I always tell you, my students, that you got to do things. You got to make mistakes. You'll learn from doing things wrong. You can't avoid things, right? You get better by practice. You don't get better by avoiding things. There's a couple of you that I've told this about, right? I've told this to. With reading, you don't get better at reading by avoiding reading. You get better at reading by doing it. I'm not going to get better at this if I keep avoiding it. So I got to keep doing it, and I have to suck it up and deal with it. So I apologize for how bad and amateur this is, but this will get better. I promise you. And I think I'm rambling right now, which is actually pretty good because that's pretty much like one of our regular classes. So at this point, I'm going to stop. I hope you are all doing well. I hope to hear from you. You can still email me at my school email. This will be on my YouTube account, which embarrassingly enough has the picture of the Decepticon logo from one of the pumpkins I carved some years back, and has my Gmail account, which is m.chiarieri@gmail. You can use that too if you need to get a hold of me. And I look forward to working with all of you. And we'll be back. And have a good day. Oh, and don't forget, cats still are the best pets.